Live. Hey, we are going to answer some questions today about Lex Fridman. No, I'm not trying to start beef, but maybe actually a beef would be kind of cool with Lex Fridman. But no, the reason I brought it up today in the title is to see if people are interested, because I'm getting like this undercurrent of people talking ass about Lex. My buddy Lex, who I listen to a lot, and actually, I shouldn't say, but I listen, and somebody I know doesn't like to listen. So, and I've had some arguments about it, because sometimes I want to hear who he has on, you know. So, but I had on Zach Voorhees on the show just the other day, and he said that he was suspicious. That's where this really started. And then we can talk about whether everybody is an asset. I had the title as Is Lex Fridman a plant? But then I changed it to Is Lex Fridman an asset? And then I was thinking, oh, they're going to say I'm anti-Semitic. But we're not talking about it for that reason. But I know how people are. Is Lex Fridman an asset? And they'll be like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory because he's Jewish, which I didn't even notice. But except when he was talking to Ye, and then he mentioned it, so I did notice. But is he controlled? People want to know. Like, for example, Pirate X Pirate says, isn't he Mossad? See, right, more anti-Semitism there in the chat. Why would you say Mossad? Out of curiosity. He just wants to love, is what Adam Bob says. Yeah, I tweeted about him today, and my tweet got some attention, so that was why I thought about starting a beef with him, because I called him out for his lovey-dovey tweeting, basically. He's very earnest every time he tweets. So he always says something like, I love everybody, or I want to do the best to bring love, peace, and happiness to the world, etc. So I was thinking, because he's always saying that. So I did leave him a comment that people liked. I'll show you that. And then I'll go over some other news. Maybe you tuned in for the Twitter files earlier today. I didn't finish them entirely, but I can recap the Twitter files and also talk about a few other things in the news and maybe some things that I'm not supposed to talk about, but maybe in a way that I'm allowed to talk about. And that's it. That's what we're going to talk about today. So thanks for tuning in. I'll play the intro. This show is an ongoing art project, which you are lucky enough to experience today, which is December 19th. We're less than a week from Christmas, so make sure you do your shopping. And that's a reminder to me to make sure I do my shopping. So make sure you do your Christmas shopping for your loved ones, because they like to get gifts at Christmas. Oh, and Hanukkah started. So happy Hanukkah. I have to show you, the New York Times had a Nazi crossword puzzle. It's not funny. They had a Nazi crossword puzzle. I'll show it to you. Okay? All that and more on this Lift the Veil show. Okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it.
You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. I bring you the news, the real news. Yes, and sometimes just speculation about things that happen on the internet too. So it's news, and then speculation, then some conspiracy theories, and rarely, if any, opinion of any kind. Rarely, if any kind of opinion, just straight down the middle, facts and speculation, what the speculation is sometimes incorrect. Frequently, we speculated on the election and failed. Speculated with real money, and we encourage people to do that. If you're going to speculate, we encourage you to do it with real skin in the game, by putting some money down. If you're going to pontificate, speculate, what have you, put money on it. Sure. Why not? Because otherwise, what does it matter? You want it to hurt when you're wrong. That's the point. If you're going to make predictions, then you want it to, like I want it to actually hurt when you're wrong. Like when Tim Pool says Donald Trump is going to win in a landslide, then I would want it to affect him when he was totally wrong. But it's all right. Sometimes we're wrong. It happens. Sometimes we have the wrong opinions. That happens too. Gosh, that's happened here too. So yeah, Lex Fridman, did I say? Nuckfugget said Nathan's jealous. He is famous, and he does get good guests. So I am jealous that he gets good guests. But on the other hand, it can be annoying to talk to the same person for 3 hours. So I think it does take a really special kind of skill, what Joe Rogan and Lex Fridman do, because I've done it before. I did a 3-hour interview show for a while, and it had commercials. So it wasn't even 3 hours straight like those guys do. And it's very challenging, especially if you're maybe not that interested in the person you're talking to. It's very difficult. You have to really have a certain kind of personality to be really interested in what somebody is saying for 3 hours straight, like whoever they put in front of you or whoever gets in front of you. I mean, they do get to choose who they interview, and I guess they try to choose people who are interesting. But 3 hours, man, that's crazy. So I think those guys are very talented. Joe Rogan and Lex Fridman. I don't think anybody could do it. I can kind of do it. 3 hours, maybe if I was set up, maybe if I planned for it in advance and stuff, I could do it. I do think I do interview people well, better than them, but also I know that they are very good, because you can't be super interested in everything all the time. And they have some kind of special skill where they are. So yes, jealous, you said? Yes, he is famous, but being famous sucks. Once you get to be too famous, everybody wants to take you down a notch. So that's another thing this video is testing on, is whether people are trying to take Lex Fridman down a notch, because that's what I feel like. He's gotten to the level where people want to attack, where people are starting to want to attack him. I can show you what I said about him today. I guess it was kind of mean, but like I said, I'm trying to see if I can start beef. Maybe Lex Fridman would start beef with me. But what I could do is he must have more guests than he can handle, right? Why is it there are like two podcasters? There's Joe Rogan and Lex Fridman. But then below that, there's nothing. Really. I mean, there are a lot more podcasts, but who do that thing? There's those guys. I'm trying to think. Do that thing, that 3-hour conversation thing. Can't think of anybody else. I mean, Alex Jones had Nick Fuentes on for about 3 hours with probably an hour of commercials. But otherwise, I mean, that's who it is. That's like the game. So are they on our side? That's the question. Oh, and then there's Tim Pool, who does his show too, right? But he doesn't do the podcast conversation thing. He goes over the news on his show. This is what he tweeted today. He said, Lex Fridman said, I'll never give in to cynicism. Love you all. And I said, if the podcasting thing doesn't work out, you could always write Hallmark cards, I told him. Because I feel like he does always say something really sweet. So people thought it was funny. I got a few likes, more likes than a normal tweet, but I'm not famous. So, and if I was, I don't know. I'd be careful about the things I said. I would be very careful. So I don't blame him. Is he controlled? That's a good question. Are YouTubers controlled? That's a really good question. Am I controlled? Are we all are controlled on Twitter and on YouTube by algorithms. Because we're addicted to engagement. And we look at our numbers. So we want to tweet things that people engage with. And so if we notice that something is trendy to talk about, like all the people who say Elon Musk is the greatest, right? Elon Musk is awesome. That's because they get high engagement. And it's hard to know for sure what the reasons are for the high engagement. But it happens. It happens with certain topics. And then those certain topics, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about them or they become news. And it all kind of starts with algorithms. And so, for example, you might have thought the Balenciaga story was totally natural and totally naturally occurring, which it might have been, because we don't know for sure the way the algorithms work. But they did, make it a trending topic on YouTube, for example. I know that because I made a video about it that trended in the algorithm where they promoted the video. And normally in their videos, they don't do that with. So, for example, Balenciaga, I knew it was good internet fodder when I made the video. I was very interested in the story. It's the kind of story that interests me. So it was perfect for me to report on because I was interested in the story. I saw the stuff on Twitter that people were posting, made a video about it, and it ended up getting a lot of views. So I made more videos about Balenciaga because the algorithm, the AI, was telling me I should by giving me more of what I really want, right? More of what all of us content creators want, which is more engagement. Like I can sit here and watch on YouTube, my YouTube analytics in real time and get what do they call it? Dopamine. I can get dopamine rushes from just watching people watch my videos. If I was one of those kind of people, if I was like a normal person,
a normal person who wants constant reinforcement because they're insecure and they're like they need people to constantly remind them that they deserve to be alive and stuff. So normal people like that. They like to get likes. So they'll do what it takes to get likes, which means saying what trends. And then you find out, why does stuff trend and why does stuff not trend, right? So you say on Twitter, Elon Musk is great and it does really well. But do you know for sure that they aren't boosting that? Because we haven't heard about boosting yet in the Twitter files. So it would be interesting to know. If you were Elon Musk, would you boost people saying nice things about you? Like Ian Miles Strong, or people who just constantly defend Elon Musk no matter what he does? No, I don't know. I'm not saying he does that. That'd be kind of lame. Be kind of stupid. But he is kind of letting his emotions get the better of him in some cases anyway. So who knows? But that's the way we're all assets, because we're controlled by the algorithms. So he could be controlled by our intelligence community, like he is the perfect target for intelligence. And they definitely want to know about him that he's not going to go off message. So I can say that for sure. They, the powers that be, are okay with him being as famous as he is, as long as he stays on message. And so are they manipulating him to stay on message? Is he staying on message just because that's how he is? I think it's just kind of how he is. He could be manipulated by the things that manipulate all of us, or he could be manipulated by people within his orbit, possibly. Intelligence services would want to be close to celebrities. They'd want to know a good podcaster. Like, they would want you to give them information about people. If you talk to people that they're interested in, they'd want to have information about that. They, being people like the bad FBI. The feds, they want information about celebrities. So if you get to talk to celebrities, then you're an important person. So anyway, those are some thoughts about it. I can take some calls about it. I see that Shantagatang says can't stand Lookner more than Lex. Yeah, I was thinking about starting an online beef. That's what I was thinking about doing. People don't realize that I was known for online beefs at one time. Like, everybody had beef with me, and I was kind of popular, but it wasn't good. But I did have beef with people. Like, I took down David Seaman, basically, with one video. David Seaman Exposed. And that video blew up like crazy. So I had a feud with him, definitely a beef. Then I had beef with George Webb and Dave Swigert, because I said they were the same person. DeFango was going to come to my house. I had stuff going on with everybody. So we're thinking about a return to that. So thinking about different possibilities. One of them being Lex Fridman, but to a certain extent, it's just a joke. Just seeing what people think, because some people are starting to turn on him. So I think he's like on message. He's part of the Matrix still, but he's looked into some stuff. He's looking into flat Earth.
And when you look into that, there's some things that I'm curious what he thinks, or if he would ever say it. There are certain topics that once you look into, you're in a difficult situation. Like, I could start a beef with Alex Stein, I was thinking. He's a good one to start a beef with because he's famous enough now that some people want to take him down, probably. So people would be open to it. Alex Stein. But because he's a flat earther, but he doesn't talk about it much anymore. But yeah, once you learn about some of that stuff, then you're in a difficult spot because people are like, oh, you're a flat earther. And you say, no. And then you start saying things like, oh, I just don't know. Like that. Just so people don't call you names. And then there's this other thing. This other thing, the more you look into it, the worse it gets for you. Then you'll have something that you're just stuck with. Information you're just stuck with forever and that you can't do anything with. So I have some of that information. It is a weird thing. It's a weird thing. There are certain things you cannot discuss. You have to have secret clubs. That's why they have secret clubs. Like the Freemasons, for example. It's not crazy. There are certain things that you need to discuss somewhere private with people that you know you can trust. And then you can kill them if they share your secrets. That's important. So it's important to have someone, it's important to have people like that. It's important for there to be the penalty of death for exposing secrets, because otherwise people just expose secrets too much, just like what happened to Tim Pool. That's why you need like a death cult, basically. That's probably the best way to do things. I've been watching that show, Yellowstone. It's very good. Yellowstone with Kevin Costner. They brand people, and once you're branded, you basically can't leave. Or if you leave, they take you to the train station, which means that they kill you and throw you off a cliff. So that's the kind of cult that I'm working toward developing. So welcome. If you want to support the cult, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can become a member. I even call it tithing, just like it's religious. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can become a tither for $7 a month, or you can just drop a coffee and I'll read what you wrote. Somebody left me a coffee after my stream earlier today, so I'll read that. And I'm not advocating for violence or anything. I'm just being, what do they call it? I'm being hyperbolic, not being literal. Don't take me literally on this show, please. Here's a thanks for the person who got me 5 coffees after the stream this morning. Someone says, glad you're back at it, at Colorado FL Girl. And that's confusing to me because it says Colorado and FL. So it's like you're a Colorado and a Florida girl, I guess. You couldn't decide which. You say you're both a Colorado and FL girl. All right. So yeah, if you want to support the stream, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil, or you can drop a super chat too. Sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should ask people to super chat, because maybe if people super chat, then YouTube is like, oh, it should go up in the algorithm. But then I'm taking money away from YouTube. That's why what Elon Musk did was, well, he didn't end up doing it. So let me give you the rest of the news, and then I'll take some calls. Or I might start taking calls sooner. I got to go over the rest of the FBI files. What was I saying? I'll go over the rest of the FBI files. I was talking about Elon Musk. His poll ended, and the poll ended with him, people saying he should step down. But he hasn't said anything since then.
Then today, the Twitter Files 7 dropped. And the Twitter Files 7, what they exposed was pretty bad. Basically, it's that the FBI, it confirms, it double, triple, quadruple confirms the Hunter Biden laptop. So the Hunter Biden laptop is like definitely real. And the FBI had their hands on it by the end of 2019. And then the story came out about it at the end of 2020. The FBI spent the whole year prepping social media companies to ban the story when the story came out, basically. And then Jim Baker at Twitter is the one who tried to suppress the story the most, who used to work at the FBI. So it's basically the FBI covered up the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they did it with the mainstream media by preparing them for something they called a hack and leak. They said there was going to be a hack and leak or a hack and dump operation, and it might involve Hunter Biden. Meanwhile, this whole time they had the laptop themselves, so they knew a story was going to come out about the laptop probably, or maybe. And so they prepped these companies so that when the story came out, the story got suppressed. They even did a tabletop exercise at the Aspen Institute where they prepared for a Hunter Biden leak. So, and then Jim Baker is the guy that shut it down. So, pretty bad story overall. Pretty bad story for the FBI. They had the Hunter Biden thing. They're the ones who suppressed it by conning Twitter and Facebook by saying that there would be some kind of hack and leak operation similar, and then also using 2016 as justification, and basically using 2016, which I believe is the WikiLeaks, and saying that was Russian, which it wasn't, and then saying the same thing was going to happen in 2020. So they used that argument, which is that the WikiLeaks was a hack and dump or hack and leak foreign influence operation. So they keep saying that. And then the other part of the files today was that that Twitter kept saying there wasn't that much foreign influence operation going on Twitter, and that they just didn't have anything to report. And the FBI kept saying, "What are you talking about? You must have something to report. It's obviously going on. Look at these articles. You know, there must be more than you're reporting to us." And Twitter would just say, "We really don't have that much going on." So there's a lot of that. And then the FBI trying to get more information than they're legally entitled to through backdoor access through Twitter. So it was the government asking Twitter for access to user data, which they would normally need a warrant for. And they asked Twitter to give it to them voluntarily. And Twitter said no. But they did ask, which means they could be asking Facebook. And did Facebook say no, or did Facebook say yes? Did Google say no, or did Google say yes? So it clearly shows the FBI trying to get surveillance, trying to use Twitter for surveillance. And Twitter actually saying, "Oh, no, we don't allow that." But the FBI asking over and over again for them to allow it. So that's what was revealed in the Twitter files today. There's an update. Let's see. There's an update from Paul Pelosi's son. There's a few like news stories. Okay, let me give you the news. The January 6th committee approved criminal referrals against Trump. They voted unanimously on all the things they could.
So, which I don't think it means anything more. I mean, he might get indicted for something, but the January 6th committee unanimously recommended charging him. Let me see. Let me see if it says what the charges are. I'll show you the article. But who knows? I think they might charge Hunter Biden too. Eventually, it takes a long time for the justice system to do things. That's for sure. So just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So they referred, it doesn't matter because I think they already said, I can't remember now. I thought it was already reported that they had enough evidence to charge him. They also issued a criminal referral for attorney John Eastman, who says was the architect to pressure Mike Pence to reject votes. So I don't think it's a surprise. I don't know if Trump is running for president, just honestly. I don't know how serious he is. He's just been stuck in Mar-a-Lago. He hasn't left since he announced. And then he did the NFT project, which was kind of received as a joke. So, and he's known for saying he was going to run for president and then not running. He's known for doing that in the past. Like every time in the past that he was going to run for president, he just would drop out. So I'm really not so sure. I'm not sure he wants to do it. There's been some reporting on it. There's been some reporting that maybe he doesn't want to do it. And I kind of maybe believe it because he sure has just been locked up at Mar-a-Lago. He hasn't left. All the events he's gone to by teleport, Zoom, etc. Even the Jewish conference that all the other Republicans went to in person, Donald Trump wasn't there in person. And Ron DeSantis was the featured speaker in person. So Trump didn't even show up to that. And then everything else he's been doing remotely from his golf club in Florida. So I would say I'm not convinced that he's going to see it through because eventually he's not going to be doing as well in the polls. So far, still he leads in polls. Let's see if I can show you guys. Let's see what the latest polls are on Trump. The betting odds, though, are in favor of DeSantis by quite a bit, by quite a margin. DeSantis is favored to win the GOP primary, and he's favored or tied with Joe Biden to be president, to win the presidential nomination. I could look up Real Clear Politics. And I could look up polls for the GOP nomination. I heard there was something that just came out. Election 2022 polls. Election 2024 polls. So I think Trump is still winning in the polls. Yeah, here's the latest. I'll show you. I'll show you the latest poll. It used to be that Trump was way ahead. So here's for 2024 Republican presidential nomination, Trump 40, DeSantis 35. That's way, way, way closer than it used to be, way closer. And then Pence in third place at 7, Haley with 4, Ted Cruz, Cheney gets 3%, but it's really a race between Trump and DeSantis. for 2024. And I think DeSantis is going to take it unless something weird happens. But that's the latest poll. So Trump is still ahead. But yeah, if I had to guess, I don't know if it, like if he's losing and people are talking shit about him all the time. I don't know. I don't know if his heart's in it. That's all. We'll see. Gumball 3000 says, what is the title about? You'll have to rewind and listen to the beginning of the show. The title was to see if you would tune in to hear about it. Actually, the title is a social experiment. So I'm glad you asked. The title actually is a social experiment. So like I was curious. I was seeing like little ripples of people questioning Lex Fridman. So I thought I'd put that out there into the universe of YouTube algorithm, search, etc., and your eyeballs, everything, and see how many people click on it, and then see how many people listen to it. And then I would learn from that what people think, like whether people think, oh, maybe he is an asset, or maybe he is a plant, depending on what I put in the title. So thanks for being here. You are part of the social experiment. That's what this, what else is going on? It's all a big social experiment. So yeah, the titles, they're tests. So you either pass or fail, or somehow you either click on it or you don't. And that creates data, which goes into my computer. And then I figure out what to talk about tomorrow. So thanks for participating. I appreciate it. And if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. These social experiments are not free. You must pay to participate in order to get the most out of it, at least. People who get the most out of the show are people who contribute financially. It's true. Don't know how to explain it. Roberts, so in the other news, because this is a news show, Title 42 was going to get, Title 42 allowed us to kick out immigrants, just like turn them around so that they couldn't stay because of COVID. And we used it to send off like 2.5 million so far. And it was about to end because, COVID is kind of done, right? And then at the last second, Judge Roberts has stopped it from being lifted. So Title 42 still stands, which means that we're allowed to turn around people. I think we send them back to Mexico or something. If they come in, we say, oh, you might have COVID. And then we turn them around. So we need an excuse to be able to do that. So that's our excuse right now is COVID. And if we don't have that excuse, we're really screwed because there are like millions of people coming across the border, more all the time. So if we're not able to kick them out because of some bullshit reason, which, it is, then we need to come up with a new bullshit reason, That's how effed up our immigration policy is. Oh, yeah, come on in. Well, ask for asylum. People game the system. If you're Cuban and you make it here, you're automatically in, right? Did you guys know that? If you're Cuban and you make it, you're good. That's why you just have to make it to the beach if you're Cuban, because, we don't like their government or something. That was always an interesting one to me. It's like, oh, all you have to do is touch down on the land, then you're safe. Weird policy, right? That's what they came up with. Okay. So, all right. So that's news. I told you a little bit about immigration policy. That's exciting. I told you about the social experiment. I can do a poll too. If you really want to
make it a full social experiment. I could do a poll. I have news about the I have news to report about Lex Fridman. Since we're trying to start beef, he is very short. Shorter than Joe Rogan, believe it or not. And like, I don't want to be a height supremacist, but you can be. Owen Benjamin is a height supremacist. He's like 6'7" or something. I passed for 6'2". Everybody lies about their height. So everybody lies about their height so much that I have to lie for people to believe me. That's one thing. Everybody lies about their height. If someone says they're 6'1", they're probably 6 foot. Because I'm 6'1", and everybody says, "Oh, you can't be 6'1". I'm 6'1". I'm like, okay, obviously, yeah, we have the same tools for measuring ourselves with, right? You take off your shoes, right? And you stand up straight. You mark, and you put a book on your head, or you have one of those scale measuring devices. But people lie about it anyway. So I say I'm 6'2", even though I'm not, because otherwise it gets confusing. People will be like, "No, you're lying." Anyway, Lex Fridman apparently is lying about his height. That's him next to Joe Rogan, and he's shorter than him. And apparently he lists his height, or someone says his height is 5'9". But I don't know who's reporting that. This is from some random place. I got this picture from white nationalist, Baked Alaska. I don't even know what to call Baked Alaska. Baked Alaska is back on Twitter. He was talking about Lex Fridman too. So I thought, oh, maybe it's a good topic. Better than talking about the jibby jabs. So I have information about the jibby jabs, but because of the manipulation of YouTube, if I report on it, it is crazy how much they suppress it. And then also, you have to report on it in such a messed up way that it's not even really reporting on it. So, but there is stuff coming out. There is a lot of stuff coming out about it. There's this report that the FDA, a report in the Epoch Times, where an FDA study, I have to say though, whatever I say, don't forget that the WHO and local health authorities say have confirmed the vaccines are safe and effective. So like anything that comes out, if it contradicts that, it's just not true. So this isn't true, but people are saying, the FDA is saying they found a link to blood clots with the vaccine, which they hadn't talked about before. So that was being reported, but obviously, you know what the authorities say. So, but there is some stuff going on in the world. In Germany, there are numbers. In Florida, there's the thing Ron DeSantis is doing. So I'm keeping up to date with it, and I'll try to give you the information as well as I can. I can tell you that it was debunked that Celine Dion was vaccine injured with her stiff person syndrome. So I'll tell you, official fact checkers. So I was going to say something about it, but I noticed official fact checkers say that it's not true that Celine Dion had something happen to her as a result of jibby jab. Official fact checkers, several. So I can tell you that with authority, the authority of several fact-checking organizations. All right. I think I've said I would take phone calls. I'll see if anybody drop me a coffee in the meantime. I'll see if anybody dropped me a tip on Rockfin. Thanks for the tip on Rockfin. Thanks, Vogan Filter, for the tip on Rockfin. Yeah, I might need to go get myself a coffee after this. So I'll check my coffees, and then maybe I'll take phone calls, and people can call in if they have opinions about Lex, for example. Somebody might. Or opinions about anything else that's not going to get censored. Anything else within reason. We keep this show safe. All right. Nobody drop me a coffee. You can leave me a coffee or become a member by going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can still do it. Even if you're watching this and I'm not even live anymore, you can still do it. Even if you're listening to the podcast, you could still do it. You could show your support. And it is the holiday season, so that should make you more encouraged, I would think. So thanks for that, though. Thanks, people who support the show. I appreciate you. Without you, we would be screwed. So we appreciate everybody who supports the show. I'm going to open the phone. Okay. I'll open the phone and see what happens. And then I've been doing some live coverage. People said instead of Lex Fridman, I should start a beef with Steve Lookner. And I'm thinking about it. If you guys want me to start a beef with somebody, that's cool. Like I started that beef with what's his name again? Oh, I already forgot his name. The guy who talked about Pizzagate all the time. David Seaman. I started beef with David Seaman because somebody told me to. Isn't that weird? I had a handler, kind of, even though I didn't know it. Somebody told me I should, and then I followed their advice. So sometimes we have handlers on YouTube. Like, you have to be careful about our motivations. Most people are motivated by fame and money. So that's the easy one. Most people are motivated by fame and money. So people want to get more clicks and they want to get richer. So you can just assume that for most people. But some people try to fight against those things because being motivated by those things eventually can lead you down the wrong path. Like if I was motivated by that, I would have talked about QAnon, for example. That was a quick way to money and fame at one time, talking about QAnon. So that's why you saw several grifters jump on the grift wagon for that particular grift, QAnon. But if you try to fight against it, then you just end up like a poor YouTuber on some corner of the internet. You can call in if you want, 650-429-8294. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nathan?
Not much.
So you're talking about Lex Fridman? Is that what's going on?
Just for
starting beef.
Just to start a beef, yeah. To see if I could start beef.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I tuned into. I think he's kind of. I think he's put into as an influencer. He's been kind of put into place like a pawn or something. It doesn't seem legit.
There you go. See, that's what I was wondering. People think that they think it doesn't seem natural. That's what my guest was saying. He was like, I don't believe he's that interesting. See, I can see. So this happens to people. Sometimes if people are not interested in a particular thing or topic, and then they see that topic trend, they assume it's because it's manipulated, but it could just be that they don't understand why people are actually interested. So it could be that that people who think Lex Fridman is a plant just don't understand the appeal, but that he actually does have an appeal, that like people really do like him. What do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, because he would, all of a sudden goes on Joe Rogan out of nowhere, like he's a big star. Like, how did he? I mean, you don't get on Joe Rogan these days.
Well, he had
just for being some random guy that just emerged out of nowhere and became influential somehow.
Well,
you go on Joe Rogan. At this point, I feel like when someone wants you on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's friends with Joe Rogan. I mean, he did have a huge podcast before he ended up on Joe Rogan. I mean, I was aware of his podcast before he was nearly as famous as he is now. In fact, I believe I was watching his podcast when it was called the AI podcast or something like that. And it was really just talking about AI. And then he branched off into interviewing other kinds of people.
Well, that's kind of a red flag, a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't you think? Because I always thought Rogan was kind of an AI kind of transhumanist, chill.
Right.
In a way, like because he's always talking about biohacking and using certain medications and things to do certain things, and he's all into DMT and all that stuff. So, I mean, that makes sense. Maybe they just have mutual interests.
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty famous before he got asked on the show. So I will say that it wasn't like nobody knew who Lex Fridman was. He was a pretty big deal.
I didn't know who he was though.
Yeah,
maybe I'm out of loop because I didn't really know until he just kind of because he started being recommended to me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe 6 months before Ye ended up on his podcast.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I just kind of saw him, and I was like, what? I don't like. He just never. I think maybe I watched it for a couple minutes once, and just like
yeah.
But it is weird though, because I don't really watch Joe Rogan anymore, and there was a section of him giving Lex a watch that has a moon, replica of the moon on the watch, and something about what phase the moon is or something.
Yeah, a moon
he was
phase.
Like, give it. Yeah, and he was like, it was like he wasn't like this. Marry me, Lex. Right. It was that kind of a creepy, weird vibe. It's like, why is Lex Fridman this important to Joe Rogan, and why is he expressing this to his whole audience in just such a weird kind of creepy way?
Well, they definitely have like a bromance thing together in there, and I think Lex might have moved to Austin because of Joe Rogan. Because Lex was at MIT, so I think he was in Boston, and then he went to Austin, and Joe Rogan's in Austin, and then Elon Musk was in Austin, so that was becoming the spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have some kind of bromance thing going on together.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I just don't trust it because I actually probably trust Joe Rogan a little bit more than Lex Fridman, but.
Yeah.
Not that much more.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, it's time for a new podcaster, right?
Yeah, dude, you're on the scene.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to start beef, but then I need to get some gas. Then I need to actually interview people.
If I'm gonna start beef. Maybe you should go on Timcast IRL. Maybe you'd be like a phenomenon.
Yeah, I know. I would bring up. I would want to just bring up stuff that he doesn't want to talk about. Like I would start.
Yeah, I could imagine that being one of the most awkward Timcasts ever. If you.
I would bring up stuff that's like really straightforward because I watched him deal with the moon landing stuff, and Alex Stein handled it okay. Alex Stein could have been prepared a little bit better, maybe, because the moon landing is kind of easy to debunk, at least in some ways. I mean, it is kind of easy. There are certain ways you can. But then, but I was thinking about, but it was cool that he brought it up. So yeah, I would bring up like Building 7 or something. I mean, that's like not even a conspiracy theory, why not talk about that? I mean, let's see. And even like Joe Rogan hasn't had anybody on from architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth or anything like that. Like it is kind of messed up. They want
the money. I mean, that's the thing. To be like you are, you have to sacrifice some of the you know, the money, you know, some of the
Mm.
green.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's the way it goes, because those guys are, I think, kind of, sellouts, kind of maybe a strong word, but they really want to influence culture, and they know to do that they have to take a certain kind of line.
Yeah, well,
And
it's true. Like, it's true that Joe Rogan went back on the moon landing, right? Like, he used to be a moon landing hoaxer, and he totally did a 180 and started talking to that idiot scientist and stuff, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he has really dumb debunkers. Like, he had some like green-haired dinosaur paleontologist guy on
Oh, really?
to debunk the fake dinosaur theory, which I honestly, I haven't looked into the fake dinosaur theory, but it was like a really pathetic debunk, in my opinion. I mean, he does that a lot. He'll go back on things and kind of doesn't allow the debate to really happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have a vegan diet, and I don't really give a shit about, like, I mean, I believe in, you know, people should be able to hunt for their food and should be responsibly, like, animal husbandry and all that stuff. But Joe Rogan's just like a total dick about veganism. It's like he totally doesn't really allow the debate
Right.
to be fair, and to not be just like, he kind of portrays all vegans as being fundamentalists, which most are, I don't think, are, you know.
Right, exactly. Oh, some of them are. I mean, I had a vegan fundamentalist who used to call into my show and yell at me for eating eggs and stuff. And I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
it's really
chill out.
I'm a rationalist vegan, and I understand that we wouldn't even be able to survive if we didn't have animals around to eat, or to eat their milk or whatever.
Right.
We just wouldn't, or their eggs. We wouldn't even be here.
Right.
You can't survive a winter without animals. You know, it's just
Right.
ridiculous to think otherwise. But
Well, that's
it's just,
cool. Yeah, he should
yeah,
present, you know, he could present different perspectives though. And then, yeah, I would say the thing he says about using testosterone and human growth hormone or whatever he's using, that's the stuff where I think to myself, oh, I don't know what the side effects are of that. Like, I know people talk about using testosterone like it's no big deal, but it seems like using hormones, something, you know, so yeah, I question that
yeah. I
stuff.
mean, I think he's all jacked up on his designer drugs,
Right.
and, you know, do some gnarly elk hunting and feel all manly and stuff.
Right.
But it's not like a very healthy lifestyle, I don't think, and it's not. That's why I do think he is kind of a shill in the transhumanist agenda.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen it for a few years with that guy, and I think that makes sense that Lex Fridman might be, you know, in that same. I mean, even your guy you had on the other day, the Voorhees guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's on that boat too. You know?
Yeah, I know. He's into AI, transhumanism. I mean, even I'm into a lot of AI stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, sorry to take too much time, but I'm kind of a little disturbed by the AI art and the word processing and the music stuff.
mm-hmm.
It really does seem that they can kind of start manipulating reality to the point where we can't even be able to tell the difference. Like, what I think is people are going to get lost in the AI, because it's going to be kind of, the ghost in the machine is going to start tapping into their wants and desires, and it'll be like a new heroine, or you know, something that's going to really put like natural creativity and inspiration and spirituality, and kind of and put it in a place where it's completely saccharine, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, as I'm an artist personally, and I don't even know, it's like, are people going to really want the handmade object in the future, or are they just going to put on their Neuralink or whatever and just get lost in their sauce, you know, whatever their thing is?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, who's going to even want like a pretty picture on the wall if they become so addicted to the AI and you know?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, it is really advanced. People don't appreciate how advanced it already is, and then they really don't appreciate how advanced it's going to be, like, really soon. That's the only thing people I just think people are underprepared for how disruptive it's going to be, basically, and
Yeah.
how quickly that can happen, because the advances now are happening, kind of at the speed of Moore's law, sort of, they're where you have something that's twice as powerful every couple of years or even more. Like, it's advancing so quickly now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't even know about it. I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea even
Mm-hmm.
where it is, unless people are really tuned into the internet and kind of knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't realize how advanced it is at this point now.
I know.
Kind of, you know, that quantum of conscience guy. You ever listen to him?
I have before, yes.
Yeah. Well, he has this. He has this theory that they're making entertainment shitty on purpose, like Netflix stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that once the AI takes over and starts writing the script,
You won't notice.
they won't know the difference, because this is just how things are written now, and people won't really. So, which I mean, he has a lot of crazy ideas, but I'm kind of on point with. I think he's kind of on point with that theory, that it's really, they just want people. They want the mind control to manage itself, because they put so much money and resources into doing it. Like, so much. I mean, it's taken like 100 years for them to get where they are right now. So if they could just have it do it on its own, and people all manage themselves in their little mind control bubble, and they can just do whatever their own agendas,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where they want to take it.
Yep. Well, we'll see. We're advancing there rapidly. So thanks.
Oh, hey, just one last thing.
Yeah.
I've kind of been dipping into Owen Benjamin a little bit lately, but
Yes.
not for too long.
Yes.
He kind of gets redundant and annoying after a while, but he's kind of beefing with Lex Fridman. He's trying to start a beef.
He's trying to start a beef. I was thinking
stuff.
about trying to start a beef. I was thinking about who I should start a beef with. And one of the people I could beef with is Owen Benjamin, because I had beef with him before. And he's kind of fun because he gets triggered and he goes off, and he'll like go off forever.
I know. He's pretty sensitive for being so manly. He can't really handle.
So I was thinking about trying to start beef with Owen Benjamin, but yeah, it's hard. That's the thing, is you want to start beef with people, because then it'll raise your popularity. But no, Lex Fridman's not going to watch my video, but I would volunteer. I would take his guests. Like, what I would tell Lex Fridman is to be like, look, I'm sure you have guests you don't interview, right? Like, that's the thing, is it's hard getting guests for a podcast if you're not famous. But if you are famous, like, everybody wants to be on your show. So he must have people he turns down. So I could do those interviews for him. You know what I mean? It could be like Lex Fridman alternative,
Yeah. Hey, I know what would be good. It would be interesting to see you and Anomaly have a conversation.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, he's interesting.
I think he would be into it. He's pretty open-minded.
Yeah, I know.
Because him and Adam Krigler, because he was kind of, in a weird way, like, tied up in that Timcast drama.
Mm-hmm.
But he makes Krigler's, because sometimes Krigler's live streams are a little hard to watch, but they had a pretty good back and forth. I think you and Anomaly, I think it would be pretty good, and it would really put you, I think, out there in terms of notoriety and people knowing about you, kind of some of your ways. So I don't know, maybe the people out there on the internet can try to, like, make that happen or something.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think it would be good for it. It'd be good for your brand.
All right. Cool. I'll think about it.
All right. Well, good talking to you, Nathan.
Good talking to you too. Thanks for the call.
All right.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, Anomaly's cool, but what would we talk about? I don't want to talk about that topic. That's the thing. I know Anomaly because of the topic he was talking about, but I'm learning, I'm a learning CPU. I learn from the inputs I get. when they punish me whenever I talk about one topic, then I'm inclined to not really talk about it. So I don't know what else I would talk to Anomaly about. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Nathan, it's Jim from Baltimore. How you doing?
Hey, Jim, what's up, man?
Yeah, so I was thinking about that Lex guy, man. He's like, it's so weird because he just came out of nowhere, like the guy you interviewed talked about. I just had to laugh when I heard him talking about Lex Fridman just everywhere now.
Right.
Like here's the funny thing, man. I had you on and I fell asleep because you were talking about these drops, right? And it's only because I just fall asleep. I have whatever.
Right.
And I fell asleep, and as soon as I woke up, Lex Fridman's interviewing who's that guy with the wimpy voice, and he's
Jordan
Peterson now, I guess.
Jordan Peterson.
Yes, Jordan. Yeah, that when he cried on his yeah, that's so weird. Like how that, but that is like that you're the guy you interviewed. What was his name again?
Oh, Zach Voorhees.
Yeah, Zach Voorhees. He explained it exactly how I experience it. Anytime like you're looking at something, then something completely not on par, but kind of on par with it comes up, and Lex Fridman is on like big. He must be being paid like lots of money. I don't know.
Well, he must do. I mean, yeah, if you can get that many views on videos, you do well enough, and your videos are monetized, then you make a lot of money through ads. And then he has sponsors too. So, but like my videos, like this show today, I didn't say anything crazy. It's going to be demonetized. Like everything I ever do on YouTube is demonetized, no matter what now. So I'm like, I don't get it, man. That to me isn't fair, because I think everything he does is monetized. Even when he had Kanye West on, it was probably monetized.
Well, yeah, that's it's pretty much obvious. Like once you get on the big top of the pyramid of YouTube, then you'll get monetized, even if you say the word shit.
What? Yeah,
and
right.
Do nothing else.
Right.
You know, it's just stupid. And like, there's a lot of truthers or quote unquote truthers that have gotten monetized, and I cannot understand how. And yet they still say the same things that you do. So
right.
I don't want to pick them apart and say, okay, this guy's a shill. This guy.
Right.
I had this phase early on, probably around 2013. People were spouting stuff about shills, this, shills, that, but like the only shill I can see are the ones that have lots of bucks, man.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It doesn't mean just because you're doing well that you're a shill. I mean, like Russell Brand. I don't know if Russell Brand's
if you're
videos
doing well, you're not gonna have anybody else on your show that's not famous that has, you know, whatever.
Right. You're not going to cross certain boundaries, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and even with the Tim, what's his name? I don't know, like if you got on his show, he would tear you up, man.
I know.
He'd say, okay, I saw you said this this time.
Yeah, right.
You're a truther. I'm gonna shut you down.
Right, exactly. He hates conspiracy theories so much. So
yeah. I don't like his music. I don't care what he plays in the band, but I just didn't like his band. I don't like his arrogance. Just like the Lex Fridman. He's a arrogant piece of dog shite.
Well, seriously. You got to be a little bit. You have to be a little bit to do the.
No, but he's a lot. Yeah. He's a very lot.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of his YouTube shows, and I'm just like, man, this guy, he might as well stick his thumb up his own butt, you know?
That's a very strong way to put it.
I mean, like, that's the only way I can. Well, there's lots of ways I could put it, but anyway, yeah, man. So take another call, bro.
Okay.
I'm glad you took my call.
Thanks for calling in, Jim.
Yeah, see it.
See ya. All right, I could take one more call. Thanks for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Thanks, people who support the show, even though nobody did yet. Nobody did. Even though nobody did, I appreciate people who do support the show. I'm checking again. Might buy me a coffee. The link is at the top of the chat. I am a YouTube grifter, or whatever they call it. When you go on the internet, you ask people to send in money. But you can support the show if you want to. And we really appreciate people who do. All right, the phone's open again, I think. Yeah. And then I've been doing some live streams, some videos. I did 2 live streams today. Earlier, I did the Twitter files. So I've been doing the Twitter files. The Fauci files could come out any day. So I better make sure I'm awake tomorrow earlier in case the Fauci files come out early in the day. But this time, the files that dropped were Hunter Biden laptop files. So far, we still haven't gotten the COVID information files, which is the one we're really waiting for. Leaf does, he says, Lex Fridman's voice puts you to sleep, but I'm always waking up to it because it's always on autoplay, huh? That's funny. Lex has been on YouTube for a long time, though, before he was famous. So I don't think it's as much of a conspiracy theory as other people because I watched him before he was so famous and I understood the appeal. When I want to listen to like high IQ stuff, there's not that much to listen to. Like he's good for that kind of stuff. He is really smart. And like when he had on the chess champion, he can talk about subjects that other people can't talk about. I mean, he went to MIT. He is smart. So, and he does have on good guests also. It's just that, he's not going to have on certain guests. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Nathan, how are you doing?
Doing good,
PFC
thanks.
Jedi, can you hear me?
I'm doing good, thanks. Thanks, Jedi. I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure because I'm kind of on speakerphone right now.
Okay, you're good.
But I was watching your stream, and I'm really think that you could make good content if you did start like an online beat.
Yes, thank you. I know I can. I know I'm capable of it. It would be like Lex Fridman exposed or something like that. But I don't know if there is much dirt on Lex. That's the thing. I mean, I like him. I like everybody. That's the thing. Even people that I have real strong criticisms about, I still like him. Like even Tim Pool, I still like him for some reason. And I still respect things about him. So it's hard for me to attack people.
Yeah, I understand. But it's kind of ironic that you mentioned Tim Pool. I actually have eyes on Tim Pool at some point sometimes because I work at a casino and he frequents. Right,
Oh,
on
really?
the weekends sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. What does he?
Yeah.
What does he like to? How does he like to gamble?
Well, it's kind of ironic. He doesn't really play high stakes at all.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to play kind of like they call them carnival games, like 3-card poker, 4-card poker,
Mm-hmm.
those types of games. But he likes to play World Poker Tour, like heads up hold'em or like high card flush.
Okay.
Like really simple stuff. But
Right.
he's always in there with like some skinny chick with brown hair.
Well, he does have a
Which I
girlfriend.
find interesting.
He said once he had a girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's too.
Yeah, maybe.
But another person I thought that might be a good one because you have previous, contact with would be Alex Stein because he actually tonight I was over at my friend's house cast on like OAN or something because they were broadcasting from Turning Point USA Fest.
Yeah.
and Alex Stein came on with like a mask and crashed it.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
funny.
So I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But you could call him out for like his flat Earth theory, like you were saying. He believed in that like early.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. I mean, I had him on. He came on my show a couple times before. I don't think I could get him on anymore because he's so famous now. But
yeah, I know.
I used to be able
to.
Cool.
I mean, I retract the previous statement I just said. He's an okay guy. I don't think he's cool. I think he's an okay guy. I'll put it that way.
Okay, that's cool.
I want to be neutral on that.
That's cool.
But other than that, yeah, I do appreciate you doing the stream earlier.
Oh, thanks.
With the Twitter files.
Oh, cool.
It was
Thanks.
Really, interesting.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll try to keep doing
I'll
those.
let you go.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Yep, I'll drop you a coffee for Christmas.
All right. Thanks. I appreciate it. You're cool.
All right. Thank you. Happy holidays.
All right. You too. See ya. Happy holidays. You're supposed to say Merry Christmas, right? I think Happy Holidays is fine though, because some people celebrate other holidays. You know, a lot of Jews celebrate Christmas, right? Because they're just like, oh, it's more fun. A lot of Jews put up Christmas trees and do all this stuff because they're like, oh, everybody else is doing it. Why not? And Hanukkah's kind of weird because it's like 12 days and stuff. Or 8 days, 9 days. I don't even know. But look into it. Jewish people celebrating Christmas. It's true. All right. We'll see you guys at the next show. And maybe it'll be the Fauci Files. Maybe it'll be something else. Make sure you like the video on your way out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for all the updates so you get everything. And if you want to support the show, I already told you how a whole bunch of times. And you can also check out our t-shirts at truthclothing.io. And you can pick up a question everything or propaganda. You can still get shirts if you order now for the holidays. I'm pretty sure, well, at least with expedited shipping, you could still get stuff before the holidays if you order now. Truthclothing.io. Links are in the description. And Merry Christmas, everyone. And we'll see you at the next one. For now, that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is.